It all depends upon the receiver, not depending upon the person who's a giver. Somebody shouts at you, say, "Hey idiot, Miss Balaminakshi." Right? Now what happens? We immediately feel you're contributing to the organization. But sometimes your manager says you're wasting time. While going through the forest, they are hearing a lady screaming, saying, "Help, help, help." She's screaming. The lady voice is coming. Okay, negative comments. Okay. Now, negative comments can be classified into, or to my understanding, it can be classified into three different categories. One is a very casual comment, right? Second is little serious. Third is something which you want to work on. Let me come up with examples of all of these. For example, a casual comment, like you're entering into the office, right? And just before you're entering it, somebody shouts at you and says, for example, your name is, as you say, your name is Balaminakshi. Somebody say, "Hey idiot, Miss Balaminakshi." Right? Now what happens? We immediately feel somebody is passing a negative comment on us. It's a very lighter note actually. So what happens? You turn around and you look at who is shouting at you. But then you find they're talking to somebody else. There's somebody, some other person with name Balaminakshi. She's been shouted upon. It is not you. So what do you do immediately? You forgive that person. So the point here, what I'm trying to say is, be it negative comment, be it positive comment, it all depends upon the receiver, not depending upon the person who's a giver. If you're not receiving it, it is his property. So it's on a lighter note I'm saying. Why? Because small things sometimes irritates us. So we can just eradicate and keep moving on. One. Let us go to the second type of negative comment. Somebody has passed a negative comment and then you are not comfortable with it, right? That means there are two perspectives to it, your perspective and their perspective. You feel you are very dynamic, but somebody says you are lazy. There's a clash of ideology here. You feel that you're dynamic, you're contributing to the organization, but sometimes your manager says you're wasting time. You don't believe in this, but you still have, there's a negative comment coming on you. How do you handle this? There is a small Zen story which I want to share. Once a Zen monk and his disciples were going through the forest. While going through the forest, they are hearing a lady screaming, saying, "Help, help, help." She's screaming. The lady voice is coming. So immediately they search, they see one lady which is being chased by some wild animal, it seems, because her clothes is all torn. She's almost 90% nude. Only few pieces of clothes is there. And she's asking for help. So the Zen monk, the head of the group, he goes and he said, "Okay, come with us, we are crossing the forest." So they all cross. Well, crossing the forest, there's a small rivulet, a river type of thing, which you have to cross. And this girl says, "I'm too tired, I cannot cross." So this monk carries a lady on her back and crosses the river. It also been said that among people who practice Zen as a religion, they should not touch women. So the disciples of following this monk is not very comfortable by this act of the monk. The monk crosses a river, drops a lady in a small village, and the journey continues. But after a few more hours of the journey, these disciples keep on discussing, how can the monk do this? How can he touch a girl and all? And they're so impatient that they decided to ask the monk. So they asked the monk, "Guruji, in our practices and culture, we are not supposed to touch a woman. And you carried almost a nude woman. So what do you feel about it? Why do you do this?" So the monk immediately gave a reply. That is what it was very interesting answer. So he says, "I dropped the lady 3 hours before. It is you who are carrying it till now." This is the way they have handled things. So if you had a clarity or a purpose in terms of what it is, if you really feel you are contributing and the comment is false, you don't have to worry about it, right? And you're clear, so there's a lot of peace with you. Third category, that is a comment on you. You also feel that yes, it is an area, then you have to acknowledge and come up with a change in a habit. For every problem which we face, the correction is not in terms of action which we take, correction in terms of the habit which we change. so that it doesn't appear again and again. Right? Thank you, madam.